Hey folks, what is going on? It's Jacob coming at you on a beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon. I am currently spending a bit of time on the road. I'm down in Tasmania. I'm in the northern part of Tasmania. I decided earlier in the week to take a little bit of a trip with my partner, and we've been driving around, stayed in a couple of different places, and this is one of the main rivers that runs from one of the main towns in Tasmania up to the north, and a bunch of awesome, I don't know how far you can see kind of onto the other side, but you've got some vineyards over there, and then there's more and more of them as you head north. There's quite a few different wine pockets here in Tasmania. So a little bit of a break. I like my red wine as well as white. Red tends to be the preference, but they have some awesome whites down here as well. So I've been on the road a little bit. You can see the place behind me. This is quite an old little cottage, like an Airbnb that we've rented for a couple of nights to hang out in and kind of set up base. So we spent today a bit further up north, went to a couple of wineries, and then heading into the local town for a dinner tonight at one of the restaurants that's quite highly rated in the area. So that'll be interesting. And yeah, it's been nice to get away for a little break. It's been a busy year, particularly the last few months have been quite busy, and so always good to get on the road when possible. Travel's been a little bit limited, obviously due to the situation with COVID. That seems to be relaxing in the next month or so, which will be good, so we can get out and hopefully get overseas as well and hang out with a few people. I wanted to film, this is the second video I've filmed since I've been kind of on the road, and in this one I just thought I'd talk a little bit about, we'll freestyle with you guys here for those of you that want to hang around and listen. I just want to talk to you about the reality of building a seven-figure information business. Okay, now when I say that can apply to selling affiliate products, your own products, doesn't matter. What happens is a lot of people start as an affiliate, end up wanting to sell their own, and then move into that field. So I don't really care if you're selling affiliate stuff now and eventually you want to sell your own. This is all relevant, okay? And I don't say seven figures as like oh, look at me, we've sold over $1 million, because the reality is it's just a fucking number. And you're gonna, just like when if you're early days now, you're gonna think hitting 10 grand a month is amazing. Then you're gonna hit 10, you're gonna want to hit 30, you're gonna hit 30, you're gonna want to hit 50, you're gonna hit 50, you're gonna want to get 100. It just keeps going and going. So I don't say seven figures to try and impress you, or to try and make out like that's the ultimate. It's not. It's just a milestone, right? Like all of them are. But it's something that I've been able to achieve. That's the mark I've hit. So I can talk about my experiences from getting to and beyond that milestone as I now build from 7 to 8 figures, right? And they're just metrics. They're just milestones, okay? It doesn't mean that because you've hit $1 million that everything's perfect. Far from it. It actually means that you've got probably a few more problems, but they're just different. There's different problems. You've figured out some aspects of the game, and you're dealing with different issues that pop up as you grow. Okay, that's just a little bit of a, I guess, explainer around the number aspect of it. But I just wanted to do a video and kind of freestyle with you all about what it takes to make that happen. Right, what it takes to make that happen. And look, I've still got plenty to learn. I've still got plenty to figure out. There's people who have made more money than me. There's people who have done different things than me. That's fine. I can only tell you from my experience, from the people I've learned from the awards that I've won, from the milestones that I've hit, from the clients that I've helped, from the industries that I've sold in. I can only share my experience with you. So that's what I want to do with you in this video. Before we jump into it, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If this is your first time watching me, typically I'm not down in Tasmania, but I live on the Gold Coast in Australia, and I've won a number of awards in the affiliate marketing space. I've got my own program in the affiliate marketing space. I help people sell digital products. It's essentially what I do. I've won the ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club, and done a bunch of pretty cool stuff in the space, and helped a lot of people make a lot of money along the way. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you should subscribe to the channel. In this video, if you get any value, give it a like. If you want to take the next step, if you haven't already, The first link in the description is going to take you over to my private community. You can answer a couple of questions. That just helps us filter out people that aren't prepared to answer those questions from the community. And there's a couple of links further down if you'd feel so inclined to check those out. You might be able to jump into one of the paid programs if it seems like a fit. The affiliate marketing program, for example. Fast Cash Roll at X breaks down some quick tactics and strategies to bring in a bit of money using email marketing or Facebook organic. We use a lot. Those strategies have done anywhere from a couple of $1,000 in an hour or so through to about 160 grand in a month. I think it's the record with the stuff that we cover off in there. Let me get this tripod set up so I can have a chat with you guys. Let's get this straightened up. Beautiful. So let's dive into this one. When I sit here and think about the last few years and building my information marketing business from scratch, there's a lot of things that come to mind. So I apologize in advance if this video is a little bit all over the place. But I haven't done one of these in a while where I kind of just talk about the different aspects of it. A little bit red today. I've been spending a fair bit of time in the sun. The first thing, and it's the part that people aren't going to want to talk about or aren't going to want to hear about, is what goes on between your ears, and that's the M word, the mindset word. I don't mean it from like a mega woo-woo perspective. I'm talking about mindset in terms of like you are going to go through a roller coaster, and that's going to go beyond. Like if you're watching this and you've not made $1 and you think that starting to make sales is going to fix the ups and downs that you're currently going through in your own head in terms of this game, it won't. The issues are just going to change. The types of issues are going to change. So be prepared for it to be a constant roller coaster. I've got mentors who have been doing this for 20, 30 years, and we'll talk about these types of mindset things. It's funny when you get into certain rooms. Like I've got guys who teach me, and they're doing millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, and have been doing that for a very long time. And a lot of the conversations in those rooms end up being about mindset, because you go beyond tactics and strategies, because you figure out how the marketing and the sales game works, how the offer creation game works, all that kind of stuff. And we can touch on that stuff in this video. But it's interesting when you end up in those rooms, in those $20,000, $30,000 plus masterminds. So much discussion around what's going on here, because so frequently this is the constraint, right? There might be business constraints, but you've got to be able to see that, and then you've actually got to fucking do something about it. So frequently what's going on here is the constraint. And look, I don't know the journey you're on or what you're going to go through, but I can promise you there's going to be highs. They're going to be amazing. They're going to be great. Like, being able to hit the road at a moment's notice and travel to places like this and live that kind of life, if you will. Fucking awesome. Amazing. Beats the shit out of what I used to do and sitting in an office in the corporate game, I'll tell you that much. But at the same time, it's Saturday afternoon. I'm creating content. I'm working. I enjoy it, so I don't really care. But, it never goes away, right? You're always doing stuff. You're always fixing problems. You're always dealing with issues, especially the more people you bring into your business. There's always going to be issues, right? And those issues and those problems can weigh on your mind, and they start to build and compound, and then shit's going to hit the fan, and people are going to betray you. You're going to have students that you help that turn their back and go, fuck you. It's a roller coaster. So I don't want to go too deep into mindset in this video, because it's not the stuff I really wanted to talk about, but I'll just preface it by saying, it's going to happen, and you're going to have to find a way to work through it. A couple of quick fire tips on that as I sit here and think about it would be surrounding yourself with the right people. You need to surround yourself with a team and a network of people who are kind of tackling similar things to you. And I don't mean people you kind of just sit around and chat with and don't get any work done. I just mean people who are going to understand the issues that you're facing, so that when you need to, you can vent. When you need to, you can have that kind of cathartic discussion to get it off your chest and move on. So they might be people kind of around the same level as you. It's also really beneficial to have people further ahead than you, because then you can bring those issues to them if you can't kind of work through them yourself, and they'll slap you around the head pretty quickly and say, you know, it doesn't matter, or think about it this way, or do this instead, or stop worrying about that. You know, this is what's really important. So surrounding yourself with the right people at whatever level, right, and getting the people around you to buy into what it is that you're doing is critically important to the mindset element of this all. Keeping perspective in terms of how long you've been doing it, your own expectations, this internet marketing game, especially the numbers that get thrown around because of what is actually possible, it gets pretty crazy, but it also throws people's expectations completely out of whack. You know, if they're 6 months in and they're not making $20,000 a month, they think that they've failed. Whereas if you go through the workforce and you try and build up to a $20,000 a month salary, it's going to take you fucking years and years and years, plus how much study. Like, the expectations that get set in this game are crazy. And partly that's people putting them on themselves, but also, you know, I totally accept the fact that there's external elements that cause people to have those unrealistic expectations as well. My advice would be, just realize that it takes a shitload of hard work to start, grow, and maintain all of this. And best looking at where you were yesterday rather than looking at what other people are doing. That is honestly, it sounds like really simple advice, but the people who watch me for long enough will gain a stronger and stronger appreciation of how critically important that is. The more I reduce the amount of time I spend looking at other people, and the more I increase the time just thinking about my own stuff, my own clients, talking to my own mentors, the happier I get and the more money I make. Okay, period. So keep that in mind. The other thing around mindset, and this is like as close as I'll get to really kind of woo stuff with you guys, because it's just not my game, but abundance. It's and especially for my affiliates that are watching this, you'll lose sales along the way to competing affiliates. If you're selling your own stuff to competitors, you're gonna feel like, oh shit, you know, if I'm talking to a lead, for example, and I want to bring this conversation to a head, but I'm scared of potentially losing this lead. It means you're coming from a real place of scarcity, because you feel like, oh, that might be the last lead, or leads are really hard to come by, or there's not that many people out there that might buy my thing, or they bought from someone else so they might not buy from me. You need to find a way to, as much as possible, exist in a really abundant place. And I don't like the word because it's overused, but you've got to figure out a way to do that, either through advice from mentors or through your own experiences, right? Like, I'm quite lucky. Not lucky, I worked really hard in what I used to do, but the profession that I used to have, I used to work in corporate finance, and I'd see big deals getting signed all the time. So I never really struggled with understanding how much money floats around in the world out there. So that's not to say I don't get pissed off when I lose a sale or whatever. And when I was early on, didn't get pissed off when that happened. It does. It's kind of human nature. But I think I probably had a easier path to a place of abundance, if you will, because of what I used to do, seeing the size of deals and checks that got cut by, you know, young guys and girls in the corporate game. I knew that there's a ton of money out there, and you just got to tap into a really, really small percentage of it in your own business, and you're going to do very, very well. So you've got to do those things. You've got to block out the noise. You've got to stay in abundant perspective as much as possible. If you want to build a personal brand, the mindset side of it, you've got to become comfortable talking about yourself, right? And that may sound simple, but if you're wanting to build a brand around you, you've got to become really comfortable sharing your story. You've got to become really comfortable sharing your own accomplishments. You've got to become really comfortable saying, hey, I did this. I won this award. Like I did at the start of this video, telling you guys, you know, I've won the ClickFunnels Dream Car. I'm a platinum affiliate with Legendary Marketer, right? I came 11th in the world on the first KBB launch with some of the biggest names in the internet marketing industry. I've won the 2 Comma Club, right? I've been able to achieve things that a very, very small percentage of people, especially when you add all those things up, a very, very small percentage of people in this industry have been able to do. And you have to say those things because you need people to understand how you can help them and what you've achieved if you want to build up the credibility and the status and the authority around your personal brand. That can fuck with people's heads depending on how you're inclined. I kind of go back and forth on this a little bit. I don't mind sharing it because I'm proud of those accomplishments. But I'm also not the type of person that just loves to, you know, fucking talk about myself in that way all the time. But it is required. It's if you want to dig into the strategy behind it more, it's called self-aggrandizement. And it is critically important to building a successful personal brand. You must become okay with and really understand this. It's an art form of self-aggrandizement. And there's going to be people watching this that either aren't in the personal branding game, have no interest in getting into the personal branding game, or just don't understand it, period. And they're going to go, that's just like arrogance, ego, whatever. That's fine, but that's what you have to do. You've got to become comfortable with and okay talking about what you've done, how you can help people, your achievements, all that kind of stuff, because that's what separates you. The stories and stuff that go behind all of that is what separates you. The story that I've told hundreds of times about how I got out of the corporate game and how I won the ClickFunnels Dream Car, which led me to bang to bang to bang to the next thing, to the next thing. It's all critically important stuff that I've used in building my own brand. So you have to become comfortable being in the business of you, as they say, right? You can become a niche to yourself. I just did another video recently all about this. And that can fuck with people's heads as well. So there's a few things on mindset in there. We could talk about this all day, but just be prepared for a roller coaster is all I can say. Jamie and Chris, who both helped me run the Super Affiliate Accelerator, which the link's in the description, which is our high ticket affiliate marketing program. Quite frequently, we have a chat together, and we'll reflect on that. Started at the time I'm filming this about 2 years ago, which seems like a lot's happened, well, because it has. But learnt so much through the process of that, and quite frequently we'll say, you know, we never quite anticipated, we did not anticipate the roller coaster that this business was going to take us all on. So you just got to be prepared for that, and that's why getting away to places like this from time to time is critical, especially when you're on social media a lot. It can kick you in the ass if you don't give yourself the opportunity to get away from it. So I'd encourage you to do that. All right, I'll leave mindset there. I've got other videos on my channel about this you can go check out. You can join the group if you want to. We talk about it in there a bit because it ties into strategy so much. People think mindset and they put it in a separate silo to strategy, when that's just not the case, because how you think directly impacts everything you do. So you have to get that in order, otherwise it doesn't matter what fucking strategy. Do you wonder when you see people and you're like, how come everything they do works? It's because their head is straight. It doesn't have all of these different issues for them trying to stay. They've got their mindset straight and sorted out, and they can just tackle strategy without these hang-ups. That's why you see these people who, doesn't matter what they do. I've had people approach me and go, oh dude, how were you able to do Dream Car, Legendary Marketer, KBB, 2 Comma Club, and just go bang, bang. Like, those things happened over a couple of years, but like I said, there's very few people in the internet marketing world who've done those things in succession. It's because I've consistently addressed the mindset stuff along the way. Because I've learned very early on how critically important it is to this entire game. We'll leave that there. That kind of sits above everything in my eyes, and I talk about it a lot, and how it flows into the strategy, just because it directly impacts everything. From there, I kind of think about 3 buckets when it comes to really implementing the business and selling. another couple of buckets that I won't really talk about today that sit behind this are building out your team and the leadership required in that, and then the finances and the behind the scenes, which are really going to vary depending on the type of business you're trying to build, the structure of the business you're trying to build, the country you're in, your own legislation, all that kind of stuff. So I'll leave that to the side for now. But the other three buckets, regardless of the type of business you're trying to build, and folks would have heard me talk about these from time to time, but I guess my kind of thoughts on them are always evolving and changing. The next three buckets really relate to what you're selling, how you're selling it, and who you're selling it to. Okay, so when I say what you're selling, that's your offer or your offers, right? As it stands right now, depending on how far evolved and progressed your business is, you may only have one offer, right? Like last year, 2020, we were basically just selling, until we rolled out a front end for it, we were basically just selling SAA. And that's one of the reasons we were able to bust the 2 Comma Club with it, is because we were just focused in on that one offer. Since then, start of 2021, I kind of broadened my business out to another couple of topics, and took it from just affiliate marketing to information marketing more generally, which meant we expanded the scope of the offers. So I've now got the Fast Cash Rolodex. I run workshops from time to time. I got another couple of offers that float around out there, and I've got my own inner circle. Plus I do some one-to-one stuff, I do some JV stuff. So the complexity of the offer structure has developed over time, and in particular over the last 24 months since I branched out from the affiliate marketing game solely. I still make money every month from affiliate marketing as well, so it's still a part of the business in that regard. But offer creation is an art form and an area of study that I think marketers massively undervalue. If you're in the marketing space, the internet marketing space, selling stuff and courses and coaching and all that kind of jazz, you'll see people a lot talk about content, sales funnels, closing on the phone, closing on Messenger, branding, like we just spoke about before. All critically important shit. Don't get me wrong, all important. If you don't have a sales process, you can't sell stuff. If you aren't getting your brand out there, be it through ads or organically through content, you're not going to get attention, which is going to generate your leads, which puts people into your sales process, which gets your offer in front of people. But think about it this way. You can do all that stuff. You can do all of it. But if ultimately, after you've created the brand, are growing the brand, creating content or running ads, putting people into your funnel, into your group, into your sales process, having a conversation with them, they go through your sales funnel, whatever, doesn't matter. If ultimately at the end of all of that, the offer that they see sucks and just isn't that attractive, you could have done everything else and put all that time in. You're going to make life really hard for yourself, right? Now I'm going to put a caveat on this and say, you can sell offers that aren't perfect. They're never going to be perfect. You can sell stuff that's not, fully developed. If, and the reason I put this as a caveat and not a recommendation, is if your personal brand is so fucking strong that people don't really care. And there's very, very few people that I've seen in the worlds that I play in do this effectively. You can transcend needing an amazing offer and really studying this area if the personal brand is absolutely crushing it. I've not seen a lot of people nail it to that point though. So typically I recommend people combine the two. Build a strong brand, and I help them with that, like I've been able to do, but also learn the art of offer creation, because if you combine those two, incredibly powerful combo. You can lean just on the brand side of things, but it's pretty tricky. It's pretty tricky unless your brand is really strong. So when it comes to offer creation, learning the skills of how do I craft something that when people read it or watch a video or we have a conversation on the phone or on Messenger, and I show them the offer after they've gone through everything else, they read it and they go, fuck, that's me, right? Like that's my thing. The way I kind of describe it to people is this just because I've kind of experienced this, is, you know, you'll be sitting there and you'll be reading it or watching it and you're like, they've got me, like I'm buying it. You just, that feeling inside, you might start kind of squirming in your seat a little bit, metaphorically or literally. And learning the art of crafting offers that do that by understanding where people are now, where they want to go, what are their objections in terms of what they feel might stop them achieving that, what are their objections in terms of price, what do you need to include in order to make them feel really comfortable and safe. And this is even more important for the first conversion. And what I mean by that is the very first thing that you get someone to buy from you. The second and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth sale become easier, right? I've got people who've bought everything I've put out over the last 3 or 4 years. The follow-up sales are easier. The first sale is the hardest. So particularly for this offer creation stuff, on your front end offer is really, 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 really critical. Because once you get that first conversion, if you give them a good experience, the follow-up becomes a lot easier, especially if it's paired with a strong brand. Especially if it's paired with a strong brand that they really want to associate with and they know can help them for the longer term. So studying all those areas of offer creation, pricing strategies, risk reversals, all that kind of stuff, so that after someone's come through your ad, or after someone has consumed your content, been through your Facebook group, been on your email list, they get to the sales page, they get on the call with you, the offer just is on point, right? And that takes time in 2 aspects. One, it takes time to learn it. It's an area that I've been studying a lot over the last 18 months, and I've gotten a hell of a lot better at it. But I'm always studying it. I'm always learning, because if you can make a cracking offer, it just makes life so much easier. So much easier. So I'd encourage you to study that area and those kind of topics that I mentioned before. They will really, really help you in whatever it is that you do, be it affiliate stuff, be it coaching, be it consulting, be it course creation, doesn't matter. All of those things will really, really help with crafting offers that people find attractive and desirable. What sits in front of those is I'll kind of lump these two together because sequentially they can vary in terms of how you build them out and how you think about them. But you've got your sales process, which is how you sell it, and you've got your audience, your content, all that kind of stuff, which is who you sell it to. What I'd encourage for the folks starting out is really narrow in on one clear pathway of how do you get in front of your people, what's your main conversion method to present that offer that we just spoke about. If you clean that up and you've got one clear flow, you'll make your life a hell of a lot easier. I use a tool in my business, and I'm not particularly techie, so this one was a little bit more impressive to me than it probably is to most people, but I use a little tool called Whimsical to map out my business, and I can fit my whole business on like a rectangular thing like this, where I've got where the leads are coming from, what happens next, all the way up to the top of the value ladder. But I'm always keeping an eye on that. I'm always tweaking it. Where do people go next? Where have they come from? What offers have they seen? What haven't they seen? How do they move around the ecosystem? I use this word a lot in my own stuff called ecosystem, and I encourage you to start thinking about your business as an ecosystem, because there's a lot of moving parts as it grows and develops. But early days, if you condense it all down and simplify it down to one main flow from content or ad to one core sales process, to one core offer, until you're hitting 20, 30, 40,000 a month consistently, you don't need much more than that, right? It could be a Facebook profile, into your group, into chat, into sale. It could be profile into chat, into sale. You don't even need the group. Groups are just nice because you can start to generate leads free organically. I've got other videos on my channel about group growth. It could be YouTube to a funnel to an order form. We've done that as well. Even with a small channel, we've sold a lot off YouTube. You can do that. The point is, it's not so much about the exact mechanics as it is about knowing exactly where someone is right now, where you want them to go next, what experience they're going to have on that sales process, and what you're offering them, right? There's so many people out there talking about what funnel should I use, all this kind of shit. Look, it really doesn't matter. If the brand's on point, it's a killer offer, and they have a good experience with you through your content or through your ads, the exact mechanics of the sales process don't really matter as much. We've done basically every different type of sales process in this space that you can imagine. Low ticket funnels, high ticket funnels, VSLs, sales letters, call funnels, sold, $24,000 packages over Messenger with a little PDF. We've tried and tested all different types, and the mechanics of it don't really matter as much as what you're selling and who you're selling it to. Okay, so the how you sell it is more about what do you like doing, right? Do you want to automate it more? Do you want to talk to people before they buy stuff? What fits you? What fits your brand, right? I'm big on simplicity. That's why we do a lot of selling through offer docs and stuff like that, just because it's simple and it's easy and it's really congruent with what I do. But narrow in on one. It can change later. Just simplify it down to what you want to do. And if you're an affiliate, your hands might be tied a little bit more there because you've got to push people through the affiliate sales process. But that question's kind of answered for you. So don't stress as much about the latest and greatest funnel or the tactics of it, the technical shit. It's more about what happens before and after it. And if you nail that and your copy's relatively on point and it's a strong offer and it's coming from a strong brand presented to the right audience, the mechanics of that part in the middle really don't matter as much. Okay. And then the last part is what is kind of what everyone sees on the surface. It's stuff like this. It's creating content, be it on a YouTube channel, in your Facebook group, on email. It's how people get to know you as a brand and as a person, and you really deciding what strategy you want to do. We've done ads in the past, and we still run some ads from time to time. I've got some running at the moment to certain platforms, but we've used a heavy organic strategy in terms of building a brand, building email lists, building Facebook group, affiliates, that kind of stuff. We've used a heavy organic strategy and it's worked really well. But it means creating content pretty consistently, which I enjoy doing. I actually don't mind doing it. I like, talking and sharing this kind of stuff on video, written. I enjoy the process of it. But you may not, in which case you may want to go more down the ads path, right? But stop and reflect on what brand do I want to build? What tactics and strategies work for me? People say, ads better than organic. Is YouTube better than Facebook? Should I start a group? They all work, right? Unless you go and pick some obscure fucking platform that disappeared months or years ago. They all work. They all work. You've got to pick the right one for you. And the biggest part, people are like, oh, Jacob, how have you made so much out of your Facebook group? Well, I've been doing it for years, and there's been very few periods where I've disappeared. There's been ones from time to time where I've had personal stuff to deal with, but for the most part, I've been posting there consistently since the start of 2018, which is a pretty long time to be consistently creating content. All of these methods and tactics work to get attention, to get eyeballs, to grow your brand, to create. They all work. It's which one fits you best and which one can you be most consistent with. Pick that one, feed that into the sales process that fits you best, or if you're an affiliate, you've already got that, and work on making your offer as attractive as fucking possible, and you guys will be fine. The problem people run into is because they keep chopping and changing everything, and they do stuff that's not right for them. Like, they might be a brilliant writer, but they've had someone tell them that they have to do YouTube, but they might be, so shy and they can't go on camera, so they're constantly like uncomfortable talking to their phone or their camera. Don't do video. Write a blog. Write on Facebook. Write on Instagram, right? Don't do TikTok. Do shit that plays to your strengths. You don't need to fix all of your fucking weaknesses. Just find what you're good at and double down on that. You've got to zoom out to actually assess that stuff and look at it, and then zoom back in to work out what tactics fit. And that's in all elements of business. You need to figure out what principles are your business going to stand for. Then you work out the strategies in order to implement those principles, and then the tactics to execute on those strategies. It's the same thing. You have to zoom out, get perspective, and then zoom back in. Right. So the big overarching message in terms of those three pieces after the mindset stuff is simplify down as much as you can. Spend your time building a brand that's unique, different, carve out a chunk of your market, and an offer that ticks people's boxes in terms of what they're trying to achieve, their pains, their problems, is a unique and different experience, be that through you as the brand or the deliverables or the solution. And if you're consistent with that and constantly refining your brand, refining your offers, increasing your prices, increasing your margins, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You've got to be fucking consistent. This isn't easy, right? I've got another video on here where I talk about the truth of information marketing or the truth of course creation, whatever it's called. And people think, oh, you just fucking sell courses. It's not easy. It's actually really tricky. It's a tricky business. Especially to do it consistently, right? To do it consistently over years and years and years takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of work. All right. I think this one's been going long enough. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts with you on this game as I kind of sit out here and reflect. If you're going to get into this type of online business where you're selling information based on your own experiences, and you're going to use a personal brand and you're going to build an audience, and you're in it for the long haul, just get ready for a ride. It's going to be fun. There's going to be some really, really awesome stuff. There's going to be some painful shit along the way, painful people. People are going to do stuff where you just go, what the fuck? You're going to get trolled. You're going to have haters. But ride it out. It's 100% worth it, right? 100% worth it. You won't regret it when it all kind of comes together, and then you can just, when you start to really figure out how the game works, it just becomes so much fun because you can just work on refining and testing and experimenting and trying new things and really getting that flywheel in your business spin faster and faster, and it becomes a lot of fun. I just want to help people see the light bulbs that need to go off in order for them to get there, right? Because once it starts to click, it's a hell of a ride, and it's so much fun. We've helped a ton of people get there. We've had people fall off the bandwagon as well. Maybe they, ultimately weren't cut out for it, or they'll come back in the future. I don't know. But everyone's got to take their own path to kind of get there if they ultimately do get there. All right. So that's just some thoughts for you, coming to you on a Saturday afternoon here from beautiful, beautiful Tasmania. I'm going to go chill out for a bit and enjoy the rest of my Saturday afternoon. I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic week. Check out the links in the description. I will talk to you all very, very shortly.